headlines on Christmas Eve. The government cancels passports of 7 fugitives who are wanted under the national security law and adds 6 more absconding individuals to the wanted list, offering a $1 million bounty for each of them. Big surge in outbound and inbound travel as the city gets ready to celebrate Christmas. And the Hang Seng Index stumbles past the 20,000-point mark as stocks rally on Christmas Eve.
The government has invoked the national security law, stripping the passports of 7 activists who fled Hong Kong and barring anyone from funding them. These individuals include former lawmaker Ted Hui and Dennis Kwok, lawyer Kevin Yam, activist Anna Kwok, Elma Yuan, Francis Hui, and Joey Siu. They were earlier placed on a wanted list and are currently residing overseas. Security Chief Chris Tang labeled them as absconders in respect of offences endangering national security. These dangerous individuals escaped abroad and have continued to engage in activities that jeopardize national security, Tang said. He accused them of advocating Hong Kong independence through social media platforms, incitement to secession, subversion, and calling for sanctions against China and Hong Kong. Apart from revoking their passports, the government has imposed restrictions on these individuals, prohibiting them from providing or dealing with funds and restricting certain activities related to immovable property. Joint ventures or partnerships tied to them are also prohibited. Lawyers Kwok and Yam were also subject to the suspension of qualification of practice, while Yuan was temporarily ousted from director posts in local companies. Tang deemed these measures effective, noting that some countries recognize their credentials based on their Hong Kong license, which are now rendered invalid. Additionally, Tang added that authorities have initiated legal actions to seize $800,000 in criminal proceeds raised by Ted Hui on online platforms. Cheryl Yun, Cable News. 6 more individuals have been added to the National Security Wanted List, each with a $1 million reward. They are former District Councillor Carmen Lau, former convener of student localism Tony Chung, scholar Chong Kim Wah, former artist Joseph Tay, former journalist Victor Ho, and Chloe Cheung from the Committee for Freedom in Hong Kong Foundation.
已經係竄逃咗離開香港，但係都係肆無忌憚。 喺外地咧就係成立，有啲係加入一啲嘅組織，繼續咧係進行一個危害國家安全嘅行為嘅。
Despite leaving Hong Kong, these people continue to unscrupulously affiliate with foreign organizations, posing a threat to national security, said Chief Superintendent of Police National Security Lee Kwai-wah. Lee accused them of inciting secession on social media, calling for sanctions against Hong Kong and mainland officials, colluding with foreign forces and promoting a so-called referendum to achieve self-determination. He emphasized police efforts to cut off their financial sources, freeze their accounts, and pursue both the fugitives and their hidden backers.
如果犯罪行為嘅人自動放棄繼續犯案，自動投案。
Can Kai-yan, head of the Department for Safeguarding National Security of the Hong Kong Police Force, said that those involved in the crimes could receive reduced sentences if they confess, urging them to return to Hong Kong and face justice. The current wanted list of the National Security Department comprises 19 opposition figures. Cheryl Yun, Cable News. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning reiterated Beijing's support for the SAR government's adherence to the national security law. She emphasized that Hong Kong upholds the rule of law and any unlawful or criminal actions will face legal consequences. Meanwhile, Ted Hui shared on social media that he had applied for a British national overseas, or better known as BNO passport, after leaving Hong Kong, stating that the government's decision does not impact him. Kevin Yam clarified that he never sought an SAR passport and has not renewed his lawyer's certificate in Hong Kong. While the Hong Kong Public Opinion Research Institute responded that as former Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Chung Kim-wah disassociated himself from the organization in April 2022.
As the flu season peaks, accident and emergency facilities at the city's public hospitals registered 5,000 visits every day, prompting the hospital authority to activate special measures to handle the surge.
今年呢，就除咗正常嗰14間嘅公眾假期會開個門診。
Larry Lee, chief manager of the hospital authority, said, in addition to usual 14 general outpatient clinics operating on public holidays, 4 additional clinics will be opened, bringing the total to 18, and providing an extra 12,000 appointment quotas. The expansion aims to decrease the daily emergency inflows by 300 to 500. If that number exceeds 6,000, the pressure on A&E will be relatively large, Lee added. DHA urged those seeking non-emergency treatment to avoid using the A&E and instead seek treatment and general outpatient clinic services, private doctors or 24-hour outpatient services at private hospitals to reduce pressure on public hospitals. Crowd control measures were put in place today to ensure safety of travelers on Christmas Eve. Road closures and traffic diversions were implemented starting 2 p.m. today in Central, and from 6 p.m. onwards in Tsim Sha Tsui, Hong Kong, and at the West Kowloon Cultural District. On Hong Kong Island, roads such as D'Aguilar Street between Wyndham Street and Wellington Street and Wing Wah Lane will be closed. Police said they may expand the closed road area depending on the crowd conditions in Lan Kwai Fong and the surrounding area. In Kowloon, the Star Ferry Bus Terminus, Canton Road, southbound Kowloon Park Drive, Salisbury Road, and certain areas of Austin Road West will be closed. For public transport, MTR services will be strengthened gradually from 3 p.m., while most lines will provide overnight services. Buses will also extend service hours, while trams will run until 1:30 a.m. Additionally, the police reminded that service hours will not be extended at all border checkpoints, and people should seek advance information before heading to the border crossings.
As Hong Kongers head out of the city for the Christmas holidays, visitors from the mainland are heading to the SAR to enjoy the festive celebrations. Since there are no holidays for Christmas and Boxing Day on the mainland, Hong Kong offers a unique experience to those heading south to soak in the festive atmosphere. We will go to the city center like Mong Kok and Harbour City Shopping Mall, said this woman. Another visitor mentioned that she wants to see the world-class acrobatic performances in Central. This group of women shared that it was their first time in Hong Kong, and they planned a one-day trip, arriving and leaving today. Meanwhile, Christmas came early at Lee Tong Avenue in Wan Chai, where the street was lively and buzzing with festive activities. A group of little Santas serenaded visitors with Christmas carols. With schools closed, children were out, all dressed up and taking photos alongside Christmas decorations. Speaking on radio, Feng Weng-yan, assistant manager for leasing services at Sun Hong Kai Properties, reported an increase in foot traffic at shopping malls compared to last year. Expecting a double-digit growth in business, she emphasized that while customer spending remains average, the retail landscape has changed, requiring promotional activities to boost sales. Talking on the same program, Alan Chan, Chief Operations Officer of Miramar Group, noted that the proximity of Christmas and the Lunar New Year has led some residents to postpone trips until the new year, indirectly benefiting the local market. He reported that restaurants under their group have been fully booked every weekend since the beginning of the month. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Hong Kong stocks rallied on Christmas Eve to rise above the 20,000-point mark as mainland investors snap up shares on expectations that China will implement more policies to boost economic growth. The benchmark Hang Seng Index gained 1.1%, finishing above the psychological threshold, taking its biggest jump in nearly 2 weeks. Trading was light as the stock exchange was open only for half day, and the market turnover amounted to nearly $84.6 billion. Logistics firm OOIL, Orient Overseas International Limited, was one of the top performers of the day, soaring 7.3%. Pacific Basin Shipping also jumped 5.5%. 4 major mainland banks continue to attract investor interest, with Industrial and Commercial Bank of China up 1.3%, and China Construction Bank rising 1.4%. Agricultural Bank of China rose 2.09%, while Bank of China went up 1.8%. Shares of SAR property developers also registered gains, with New World Development and Henderson Land rising by over 2%. Trading resumes on Thursday after the Christmas break. And finally, various tourist and party hotspots across the city are gradually getting crowded as Hong Kongers and visitors venture out on the streets to celebrate Christmas Eve. The waterfront near the Ocean Terminal Mall in Tsim Sha Tsui was packed with people. A 10-meter-tall Christmas tree outside the shopping complex has attracted a lot of tourists. A steady stream of revelers headed to Lang Kwai Fong hoping to get tables at bars, which are expecting to do roaring business tonight. This bar manager said she expected the business to go up by as much as 50% compared with last year. Festive events are also planned at the West Kowloon Cultural District over the next 3 days starting today. The waterfront Christmas town will extend its opening hours during the holidays till 1 a.m. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.